Hi, Joe Palmer here. Uh, Today's subject matter is difficult for me to talk about because I'm really basically kind of a private person, but I wanted to share with you the experiences I've gone through for the last couple of years and having to deal with a spouse, my wife, who has Alzheimer's. Again, many of you may know someone or who has Alzheimer's or has been affected by it, and so it's not a good disease. And it's just something that I personally think you've got to go through to experience, because nobody can say I understand unless they've actually been down that road. But be that as it may, how do I start this? Well, a few years ago, when we were out on a camping trip out west, I started to notice some things about forgetfulness on the part of my wife. She wouldn't remember perhaps sometimes what state we were in, where we had been the day before, the month, the day, the year, whatever. And it didn't seem like a big deal at the time, because heck, any of us that have been on vacation can get kind of confused, particularly if it's a fast-paced trip. But some things just started happening, so we went to the doctor on the recommendation of her primary care physician and had an MRI done, and you could see the effects of the disease on the MRI. And so the doctor at the time gave her some medicine that would help slow down maybe the progression of the disease. Well, I don't know if it helped or not, but after a year, we had another evaluation, and the disease had progressed much faster than the original doctor thought. So he recommended another doctor. And so we went to see her at a larger hospital here in the area, and she was diagnosed as having a moderate level of Alzheimer's, which, depending where you go in the scheme of things, it was a pretty quick progression from the original diagnosis. And so it was a short time after that she was then diagnosed with diabetes. And as the primary caregiver, it was then my responsibility to do the glucose tests 4 times a day, give her insulin shot 3 times a day, and monitor her condition. So I did that for a while, a number of months, and I really started to get to the stage where I needed a break. And so I brought in a caregiver from an organization. Now this person did a great job. I'm not going to complain about that, but she couldn't give any shots. She couldn't do any glucose tests or any of that. So basically what this person was someone who came into the house, sat with my wife, watched TV, tried to do puzzles or other things, while I went out and did some shopping, took a break, and then came back, and the process would start again the next day. After a few months, it got to the stage, quite honestly, where I couldn't handle it anymore. And so I investigated some memory care facilities in the area and made the decision that I would have to move her to a care facility where she could get 24-hour attention and the proper medical care that I really couldn't give totally. The move to this care facility is something that I wish on no person. It was extremely difficult. Some might even say traumatic. In trying to, first of all, understand where she was going. But anyway, it happened. She moved in. Was told don't go visit for a week or two, so she got acclimated, and so that's what I did. And over time, it has now gotten to the stage where she doesn't know me, she doesn't know my name. Memories of a marriage aren't there, past trips, things like that just haven't happened. So what I wanted to discuss was a little bit about that journey as to where we're at now, but more importantly, as a caregiver, what kind of support did I find? Well, where I go to church, they didn't have anybody there that could offer a support group. And while I'm not going to slam this organization, I will say that Alzheimer's Association was of absolutely zero help to me, number one, in finding a support group, number two, in trying to establish a support group, because there's a lot of people that want to be in a support group. And two people I spoke with in the area from the Alzheimer's Association said, "No, I'm sorry, we don't have anything in your area." I said I wanted to start one. They said, "No, we don't allow support groups to be started by someone who is already a caregiver." Well, that's about the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life, but hey, that's what you got as a policy, that's what you got as a policy. But what really ticks me off about the Alzheimer's Association is that there is not a day goes by that I don't get an email from them asking for money. Well, folks, if you're going to donate money to an organization, at least you should get something back from that organization. So I made my donation last year, but it's ended. The other thing I want to say is the support you get from your doctors. Now, there might be some that know of a support group that you could go to, but the first doctor we went to, he gave me a 3-page brochure discussing Alzheimer's. When we went to this other doctor who specializes at this larger facility, she gave us like a 20-page book to read. Other than that, there wasn't much support out there. So I encourage you, number one, if you are a caregiver, to go out and find yourself some people that you can talk to, that you can associate with, that you can share your story with. Because what I discovered was if you don't have that, you can really quick get on that slippery slope of depression and guilt and everything else that goes along with it. Now, the final thing I want to mention during this video is that I'm a veteran. And the Veterans Administration has a great program for caregiver support. The only thing is that works great if you are the caregiver of a veteran. As a veteran who is a caregiver, I got no support directly from the VA. To me, that's a big problem. It's a big problem because there's a lot of veterans who are caregivers, old and young. I mean, I've spoken with younger veterans who are now at the stage where they need to take care of their parents. They may even need to take care of their loved ones or their grandparents. Whatever the case, it doesn't take a lot. And quite honestly, since the VA already has an excellent caregiver support program, it wouldn't be a lot to transition some of those programs over to veterans who are caregivers. So I just wanted to throw that out there. As a caregiver, as someone who is dealing with a spouse who has Alzheimer's, the way I look at it, and this is going to kind of wrap it up, you've got two paths to go. And it's kind of like dealing or working with somebody that maybe has got PTSD or suffers from depression. Again, I look at it and this is just me, I look at it two ways. You can go down a path to where the disease not only affects your spouse, but it then begins to absorb your life into their illness. And I'll be honest with you, when I go visit, conversations, first of all, aren't remembered. The kind of conversations that I have every day. And she doesn't remember when I was there. But I don't go every day. I don't go visit every day. Because I don't want to get dragged down into this constant feeling of, sometimes guilt on my part for having placed her in a care facility. But there's nothing you can do that's going to cure this disease. The second course of action is really kind of the course of action that I'm taking for myself. And I'm not saying this is right, wrong, whatever. This seems to work for me. And that's to go out and you almost have to reestablish a new lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I don't mean going out to bars and all that other sort of stuff, but I mean that you need to not get dragged down by what could easily draw you into an area of guilt and depression, but rather to establish yourself as to, hey, go out and take a trip. Your spouse is receiving the best of care that you can find. So go out and maybe take a cruise. Take a 2-week vacation. Go someplace, do something, and restore your own good mental well-being. Take care of yourself. Because if you don't do that, then what else do you have? It might sound kind of cruel in a sense, but you know what? You also have to develop that little bit of a hard skin where you don't care. And I don't mean that in a totally negative way, but you don't care what other people think about you. If you decide to go out and take a trip, you decide to take a cruise, or you want to go visit a country for 2 weeks, if you want to go out someplace, you want to go in the mountains and just meditate, fall off the grid, do it. Do it. Because in doing so, you're going to ensure your own self-well-being, and you're going to ensure that you're going to be able to handle the next step, the next progression that comes down as you have to deal with this disease known as Alzheimer's. So that's it for now. Future videos, I'll discuss this a little bit more, do a little bit more sharing, but I'm basically a private person, and there's a lot of stories that I could tell that I'm never going to tell. But to me, it's important to get the word out. And I guess in summation, if I had to make any suggestion to anyone at all, find yourself people that will support you. Don't let the naysayers drag you down. And to me, more importantly and most importantly of all, is not to let the disease drag you down. Don't become so absorbed in caring for the person that, quite honestly, no longer knows you, that it begins to affect your own well-being. So that's it. I hope you hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more videos I want to do. Follow me continuously on Wednesdays when I do my updates on my diet. I'm staying on that. And I think for some that maybe have seen my other videos, I now call it, instead of diet, my menu. But, hit that subscribe, hit that bell button there so that you get notifications. And I hope you have a great day, a safe day. Be well. God bless.